Well, folks, a lot of people were not fans of Friday's episode of Beyond the Gates due to the fact that Kat gave it up to someone who fans don't feel is worthy. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here with the unpopular opinion of, hey, it was her call. I just feel like at this point, I mean, some people, Tamas gaslit her and manipulated her and this, that, and the third. I feel like Kat probably did this just like it goes back to the last time they were at Kat and Chelsea's, and Kat was ready to have sex right there on the spot, but Tomas said no because it just didn't feel right in the moment. And even Kat said, "Look, I mean, we could just have sex, but it won't see." Oh, you know what? You know what it was? People call me out in the comments, Jeremy, they do call each other boyfriend and girlfriend. They did make it official. You must have forgotten. I think back to the last time they were about to have sex. And Kat said, look, we could just have sex, but we don't have to meet. Basically, it won't mean that we're serious or anything. It's like, it won't change our relationship status, so to speak. I mean, because at this point, they're just casually dating. You know? Because, hell, even in this episode, Tomas mentions how confused he is about what exactly they are to each other. So, those are just my thoughts. I'm going to give this one like a solid 7 out of 10. I don't think it warrants more than that. I've seen some people message me since the episode dropped, Jeremy, I'm giving this episode like a 3. Nuh-uh, that pissed me off what Kat did. Nah, that was messed up. No, she made her own choice and she's a grown woman. Okay, so before going further in the video, make sure you take a moment to like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. And let's dive in. So we pick up things at the country club with Dani running into her sister. She's just as shocked as everybody else to hear about Leslie filing a report for, her sister, choking that hoe at the diner. And Dani, of course, thinks it's justified, but more like something she'd do because she's surprised that Nicole is taking one from her playbook in terms of violence over understanding. And they get a table, to get some grub. And Dani thinks it's funny that, Nicole is showing a different side of herself. I mean, that's usually how it goes, like, a trope in some of the cartoons and whatnot I used to watch, where you would have two siblings, one who's like the rambunctious, wild one, and then the other who's the studious, more level-headed one of the group. And it's all fun and games until, the good sibling decides to go bad. The other sibling's like, yeah, it's about time he cut loose. But then that other sibling takes it too far. It's like, whoa, why are you going that far? Yeah, because they've never ventured into that realm before, so there's really no stopping them. So it's like you wanted to egg someone on to see their bad side, but when they finally show it, it's even more than what they can handle. So the conversation shifts over to Martin, and it turns out that Nicole's actually there to chat with her grandkids. Due to the fact with everything going on, they could use some time with grandma. So yeah, she's talking to them, and Dani leaves, so grandma and the kids can spend time together. And Nicole, reminds them that, hey, regardless of everything that's uncertain about life right now in your family, just know that you're loved regardless. And Samantha asks her grandma to talk to Pop to get him to move back home, but Nicole's like, that probably won't help given the current circumstances of Smitty and Martin's relationship. And that's when Terrell speaks up about what they know so far regarding the situation, and they know that both of their dads are hiding some stuff about this mysterious busboy. Nicole just chugs down her out booze because she just feels like, yeah, I don't think you need to know all the details, because what you really need to focus on is remaining hopeful that, Martin and Smitty will work things out. That should be your main priority rather than worrying about the little details that they might be hiding from you, but for your own good. So then we shift gears to Chelsea and Kat, who are, well, actually, Chelsea's the one who's talking about work stuff, and Kat is looking for her phone, and she notices that Kat is, kind of in her feelings about something. And obviously this is linked to the fact that she caught Tamas over in Eva's room, and they both go in on Eva, but that's when Kat makes a call saying that she needs to meet up right away. So over in Bill's office, Tamas and Haley are waiting, outside in the hallway, and Bill comes out of his office and he tells, Tamas some things to get done around the office, work stuff, and then he lets Haley come into the room, and Bill is, he's going through it, and he just tells Haley that, the day's been kicking his ass, and before she even can tell Bill what exactly she's in his, back, in his office for, he just bounces. So then we shift over to the diner, and Naomi is talking to June. And she is looking rather healthy because, I'm so used to seeing her shivering or, suffering from that cold and whatnot. But yeah, I can't remember the last time we saw her. I can't. It's been a while. So it turns out ever since she got out of the hospital, she's been taking better care of herself, like eating good and whatnot, and hopefully not going back to the underpass. So while she's getting the waiter's attention at the diner, she asks for the bill and even offers to pay. So when she takes out her money for the meal, she notices that photo of the kids and whatnot, and she gets a bit emotional. And that's when she gets a bit defensive over the photo, when she wants the waitress to actually look at the photo. So Naomi is asking June more details about the, picture because it's such a big deal to June. And then Haley just pops up out of nowhere. And interestingly enough, there's been the ongoing theory that June could be Haley's mom, or there could be some connection between the two, because it just felt like just the subtle interactions between them in this scene, it just makes you go, yeah, there's got to be something here. I don't know. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. So June actually hugs Naomi and then bounces, and then Haley tells Naomi that she's worried about Bill and something that he might have done that could be, criminal. And that's when Naomi says that, well, why don't you talk to my dad about it? And then Haley tried, but she pretty much says that, well, Bill just kind of ducked and dodged. And at this point, she feels like, either someone is accusing or trying to pin a murder on your father. And she wants Naomi to tell her what's going on. But Naomi says, like, hey, it's not my place, so even if I did know something, I can't tell you. And Haley just cannot believe that her husband is involved in anything like this. And that's when Naomi does mention that her dad is a bit complicated. And he only lets her see what he wants her to see. So, yeah, not all of my dad's layers are pretty. So she should talk to him about it. And that's when Naomi, leaves the diner, and Haley just sits there trying to process what she learned. And we go over to Dani's house, and Pamela shows up. Probably low-key my favorite scene of the episode. So she shows up, and she wants Dani to get on that runway as soon as possible. Because at this point, they need to get this agency off the ground. And they want to get, she has people, clamoring over an exclusive spokesmodel contract. So from there, one contract, one deal, and their agency will skyrocket. So Dani is taken aback by the numbers that some of these people are offering based on the fact that, I'm older now and whatnot. So, and the thing is, Pamela's like, look, these clothing lines and whatnot are for women in your age range who still want to look glamorous. So it's time for you to put yourself first. You put your own career on hold when you got married. Then you lived out your career through your daughter. And with all this craziness going on, think about you for once. And then Andre comes in for, a photo shoot, and Dani gets on some outfits and takes a bunch of photos. And then, Pam does the same thing, and Andre's, gassing them up. And after Pamela steps out, that's when Dani and Andre do, it's kind of interesting because Andre's like, new photo shoot time. Wait, what? Yeah, I mean, think about it. You can model lingerie and then work your way down. And not to mention, remember that time you took a photo shoot of me with no clothes on? It's payback time. And then they get freaky. So there you go. Now, this is where Tamas shows up over at Chelsea and Kat's place. And Chelsea decides, I'm going to go get some air. So turns out the person that Kat called was Tamas. No surprise there. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. He pretty much says that the reason he hasn't called, her since the hotel room thing was because he needed time to think things through and not say something he'd regret. So he tells her that, look, regardless of what you think, nothing happened with me and Eva. We didn't sleep together. Kat mentions how she saw the vibe and not to insult her intelligence by denying anything like that. And then Tamas pretty much says, like, look, Eva, I like you, but I feel like when it comes to Eva, I'm sympathetic towards her and whatnot because of the fact that she's a good person stuck in a bad situation. And this is the line that I feel like, bro, come on now. She doesn't think the Duprees gave her a fair shake. And the thing is, Kat makes a very solid point. And leave it to Kat to throw in a zinger. That viper in ugly boots. Man, oh man. Took up space in my mother's home, all the while plotting to blow up my parents and their lives. If you want Eva, just say you do. And that's when Tamas is like, look, she's just a friend. And we're just two friends supporting each other. And he claims that all I feel for Eva is friendship. And here's the part that I want to express. Tamas is like, look, you and I, we're not exclusive. Or at the very least, we've never discussed it. And I wonder how you feel about that. That's when Kat is like, I offered you sex and you refused. And Tamas says, I don't know why I, refuse sex in the moment. And sometimes I question why we're even together. So see, folks, I wasn't wrong. Like, they might use the word boyfriend or girlfriend every now and then, but they aren't exclusive. And it goes back to Kat offering sex. Like, hey, even if we have sex right now, that doesn't mean like we're committed or anything. So yeah, like I said, they're technically not together. And Tamas technically didn't cheat. I mean, look, as a guy, I'm like, yeah, Tamas, he didn't cheat. But as a guy with, morals and does care about people, it's like, if I were in his situation, I feel like I would feel bad if I ended up kissing Eva, knowing that Kat and I are, even though we don't have a title, I do feel like we have a consistent number of interactions in a semi-romantic sense, aka dates. Now, these dates honestly don't go as far as I want them to, not in a physical sense, but in a, I've been out with Kat like 5 or 6 times, and I only honestly feel like I know this girl. I feel like I know more about Eva and her mom, because every time we meet up, it's about her trying to bring him down. And then when it comes to Eva, we might casually run into each other and we connect on a much deeper level because we're just kind of cut from the same cloth. But I feel like Tamas should be, honest in terms of, yeah, I don't think that we need to take things further. That kind of thing. I mean, if he's honestly feeling Eva, but I don't know. And he goes on to say, like, I don't know if, you just are with me to kind of stick it to Eva. And that's when Kat gets pissed off, saying that she'd never do anything like that. And despite everything, I kind of see why you would think that. And I don't handle things well. And I'm crazy about you. So she does want this to work, but at the same time, I don't want there to be like a triangle thing between me, you, and Eva. And that's when Tamas is like, well, look, you're the one I want, and I'll show you. And then they start making out, and that's when she goes, if you want me, you can have me, all of me. And then he says how he hasn't wanted any other woman more. Right. And then they start going on. They do the nasty. All right, they do the nasty. But the thing is, when all is said and done, Kat, in my eyes, has like a look of regret on her face. So I don't know if that's because the sex wasn't good or if she's having doubts about, I just gave up my virginity to a guy who I'm not as sure about as I was before. Now, to round things out, we're at the diner. Jacob and Naomi chat, and it turns out he has found an address for June's photo, and she wants to know who those kids are. So this is going to be a discovery for next week, hopefully. Haley goes to Bill's office, and Bill isn't so happy about the conversation she had with his daughter. But why did Nicole mention murder when she came by the house? And Bill explains, like, look, Nicole's going through a lot right now, and out of respect to her, I don't really want to dive in deep in the subject. So just know that I've helped to defreeze after someone died, and it's really difficult for me to find the right words to describe the situation because the story that you're curious about isn't mine to tell. And Haley just acts like, oh, you know what? I love you. That's all that matters. And hey, killing is a fool's pastime, and you never had to do it before. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the episode in a nutshell. But next week looks like a banger, or this week technically because it's Sunday. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think of Kat giving up the goods, and do you think she's going to regret it?